Linda sat down in my chair on a Tuesday in March and asked for the same trim she'd asked for since 1998. 1 inch off, keep it all one length. Nothing fancy. She was 61, and she looked, in her own words, like her own mother. But here's the twist. The cut she walked out with that afternoon wasn't shorter, wasn't blonder, and wasn't harder to style. And her sister thought she'd had work done. I'm Rosalind Gray. Here's the honest part, and I want you to hold on to it. If you've ever walked out of a salon looking 10 years older, that was never your fault. Nobody ever taught you what to actually ask for. I spent 35 years behind the chair, and I watched women guess wrong in both directions every single week. So tonight, I'm going to teach you to see it for yourself in your own mirror before anyone picks up the scissors. 5 women, 5 real before and afters. We count down from 5, and the last one is the cut nearly every woman over 60 is wearing right now. Number 5, Linda, and the one-length cut she'd worn for 23 years. Picture it. Hair to the collarbone, cut straight across the bottom in a hard, flat line, no shape anywhere, parted down the middle. She asked for it because it's easy, it's tidy, and every stylist she'd ever had said yes without a word. Nobody ever questioned it, including me for the first 6 months I had her. Here's what that flat line was actually doing. Hair thins as we age. Real thinning, not imagined. Your hair is at its thickest around 40, and after that the density drops faster every decade. By 69, 4 women in 10 have thinning you could point to in a photograph. And density is the single loudest thing hair says about your age. Drop a head of hair down to under half its old thickness, and it reads about 6 years older. 6 years from thinness alone. Now think about what one length does to thinning hair. All that weight hangs at the very bottom in that hard flat line, and the line is the widest, heaviest, darkest part of the whole head, sitting right at the jaw. Above it, the crown goes flat and see-through. So the eye reads a narrow, sparse top and a heavy, dark shelf at the bottom, and that shape says old before you've opened your mouth. Linda cried when I showed her the back of her head in the second mirror. Not because it was ugly, because she'd been looking at the front for 23 years and had no idea the top had gotten that flat. Do this now. Stand up, go to a mirror, and put your chin down toward your chest so you're looking at the top of your own head. If you can see more scalp at the crown than you can anywhere else, if there's a wide pale part running back from your forehead, the weight in your cut is in the wrong place. It's all sitting at the bottom, and there's nothing holding the top up. The fix is not shorter. That's what everyone gets wrong. The fix is moving the weight up. Say this to your stylist word for word. I want the bulk taken out of the bottom 2 inches and layers built through the crown for lift. Same overall length. That's it. Same length, different weight. Linda kept every inch, and her hair read thicker across the top the moment she stood up. And that one where the weight sits, not where the hair ends, is the tell I put first in the guide, because it's the one nobody tells you about. That fixes the top. But number 4 had the opposite problem, and it's the one I get asked about most by women with fine hair. Let me stop for 1 minute, because Linda's the reason this thing exists. For years, women got out of my chair and said, write it down for me, which cut for my face, which for my hair, and the exact words so I don't get talked into the granny cut again. So I finally did. It's called the Ageless Hair Handbook. Every cut in this video and a dozen more matched to your face shape and your hair type, with a sentence to hand your stylist and one guide that lives on your phone so it's with you in the chair. Getting it depends on what you're watching this on. If you're on the television, there's a small square on your screen. Hold your phone camera up to it and it'll open by itself. On a phone or a tablet, it's the first link right underneath this video. And if none of that works, just go to rosalindgray.com. That's rosalindgray.com. Now, back to the countdown. Number 4, Margaret and the pixie she was talked into. Picture it. Cropped close at the sides, short over the ears, a little length left on top, the whole thing lying flat against her skull. She was 68 and her hair had gone fine, and a young stylist told her the sensible thing: short hair is easier when it's thinning. Margaret believed her. Most women would. Here's the hidden truth. A cut can look sensible and still be the thing aging you. When hair is cut that close to the head shape shows through, and so does every bit of scalp. It doesn't hide thinning, it hands it to the light. Worse, it strips the softness away from the sides of the face, so the jaw goes bare, and every line beside the mouth has nothing standing next to it. And there's a second thing nobody told Margaret. Straight, smooth hair reads about 5 years younger than the same hair left rough and wavy. Not because straight is prettier, because a smooth surface catches the light in one clean sweep and rough hair scatters it. A pixie on fine hair is almost never smooth. It's flat in some places and standing up in others, and that broken surface reads as thin. She came back to me 3 weeks later, sat down, and said, I look like I've been ill. She hadn't been ill, she'd been cut wrong. Do this now. Put your fingers into the hair at your temple and lift it straight up an inch, then let it drop. Watch what it does. If it falls flat against your head and just lies there, you don't have enough length to make weight. Going shorter will take away what little shape you've got left, not add to it. What Margaret needed was length, not less. Say it like this. I want it long enough to sit at the jaw, with the sides kept soft against my face, nothing cut above my ear. That soft edge along the cheek is doing the work of 100 pounds of makeup. Margaret grew hers to the jaw and stopped there, and she stopped being asked if she was feeling all right. Short can be glorious. It just has to be chosen, not prescribed. Number 3 shows you the shortcut that works. And one thing about it that will surprise you. Number 3, Jean, 60, and the buzz cut. I know. Stay with me, because this is the one that changes minds. Picture it. Cut to a uniform half-inch all over, no part, no styling, no color, fully gray. Jean went gray at 15, a white streak at the front of her forehead before she'd finished school, and she colored it from her late 20s, then straightened it, then colored it again for something like 30 years. When she finally took the clippers to it, everybody in her life told her she just aged herself 10 years overnight. They were wrong, and here's why. Gray does cost you something, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. On a woman's face, going gray reads about 5 years older. That's real. 5. But the number people are terrified of is 10, and 10 years is a television number. It comes from a show that gets there with surgery, dentistry, new teeth, new clothes, and studio lighting, and then films the before in the worst outfit they can find. That's where your fear of gray came from. It didn't come from anybody's mirror. 5 years is the price. What Jean bought with it was everything else. No line of demarcation across the top of her head, no brassy patch, no two-tone, and a head of hair that's all one honest color with a clean surface, catches light like nothing dyed ever does. Jean says now that once you get used to how it lights up your face, it changes your outlook. Do this now. This one needs daylight, not bathroom light. Stand at a window with your face toward it and look at where your color changes. Find a line where the dyed hair ends and your own begins. Then ask yourself honestly which side of that line looks more like your skin. Most women are shocked. The dyed part usually reads harder against the face than the gray does. If you're keeping the color, that's your business. And I never argue with it. Color in real life is worth a bit under 2 years off how old you read, which is not nothing. But if you're growing it out, ask for this. Cut it to the shortest length where I'm still all my own color, and take the rest out over the next 3 appointments. That's the phrase that stops a stylist talking you into another full head of dye. That's color. But number 2 isn't about color at all. It's about a line most women can't see on themselves. Number 2, Kathy, 67, and the bob that was cut half an inch too high. Picture it. Chin length, blunt across the bottom, a heavy fringe cut straight across the eyebrows. Perfectly nice bob. Kathy had been getting it for years, and every photograph of her looked slightly wrong to her, and she couldn't say why. Here's what was happening. Length isn't what ages you. The line where it ends is. A bob that stops exactly at the widest part of the jaw draws a hard horizontal bar right across the softest part of the face, and it makes the jaw the widest point of the whole head. Half an inch lower, under the jaw, where it starts to come in, and the same cut lifts everything. The fringe was doing something worse. Everything on your face fades as the years go by, your brows go paler, your lashes thin, the edge of your lips softens. It's the loss of that contrast between your features and your skin that tells people you're older more than the lines do. Put a heavy fringe straight across your eyebrows, and you've hidden the one feature you still have contrast in. Kathy took a photograph of her mother out of her handbag once and said, "That's who I see." Her mother in that picture was 79. Do this now, and it's the test I want you to keep. 2 fingers held flat together, laid against your jawbone. Where do your ends fall? If they stop above your fingers, the cut is lifting your face. Level with them, it's cutting straight across your jaw and widening it. Below, it's pulling everything down. Right underneath the fingers is where you want it. That's the half inch nobody measures. Then say this. Chin length is too high on me. Take it to just under the jaw, and I want the fringe swept to the side, not straight across. A side sweep gives your brows back. That's it. That's the whole change. Kathy's hair was the same length and the same color when she left. Her daughter asked what she'd had done, which brings me to number 1. And this is the one I promised you at the start. Number 1. Not a cut with a name. It's the appointment. It's the one where you sit down and say, just the usual. Take an inch off. Nearly every woman over 60 is walking out of the salon with it, and it's the single most aging thing happening to hair in this country, because the answer is always yes, and nothing about the shape ever changes, while everything about your hair does. I'm going to be straight with you now, the way I was with every woman who sat in my chair. Your hair is not the same hair it was 10 years ago. It's finer, it's drier, it holds light differently, it's probably a different color underneath. And every year you've asked for the same trim, that cut has been getting further away from the head it's sitting on. Nobody did anything wrong. It just quietly stopped fitting, an inch at a time, and no single appointment was ever the one to blame. Here's what the safe trim does. It takes length off the bottom and touches nothing else. So the weight stays low, the crown stays flat, the ends stay blunt. The parting stays in the same place it's been since the 90s. It preserves the shape while the hair inside it changes underneath. That's why women look up one day and don't know when it happened. It happened at a rate of 1 inch 4 times a year for 15 years. And 2 women born the same year can read 11 years apart from each other. Same birthday, not genetics, not luck, 11 years of gap, and a fair bit of it is walking around on top of their heads. Do this now, and this is the last one. Find a photograph of yourself from 10 years ago. Your phone will have one, or the mantelpiece will. Hold it up next to your face in the mirror. Don't look at your skin, look only at the hair. Is the parting in the same place? Do the ends stop at the same spot? If the answer to both of those is yes, then your hair has had the same cut for 10 years, while your face has done 10 years of living. And the cut is the thing that has to move. So don't book the usual. Book 15 minutes with your stylist and say this: I've had the same cut for years and I don't think it fits me anymore. I want to look at where the weight sits and where it ends, not just take length off. That sentence changes the whole appointment. It stops being a trim and starts being a cut. So before your next appointment, before you sit down and say those 2 words, do one thing. Stand at the mirror and run the 2-finger test on your jaw. It takes 4 seconds and it tells you more than any photograph on a salon wall. And remember the lesson underneath all 5 of these women. With hair after 60, the line where it ends sets your age. Never the length, never how neat it looks to somebody else. In 35 years behind that chair, I watched too many women hand over their best feature to a cut nobody ever taught them to question. Not one of them was foolish. They just never had the words. If this reached you, tap the like button. It's how it gets in front of the next woman who's about to be talked into the granny cut she doesn't want. Subscribe, because next week I'm doing the 5 cuts that are quietly wrong for curly and wavy hair over 60. And if that's you, you've been ignored by every video on this subject, and I know it. And tell me below, what's the last haircut that made you feel old and who gave it to you? I read every single one. Number 1 is probably on your head right now. Go to the mirror, do the test before your stylist does it for you.